Welcome, beer fans, to the Third Pint Theory, the last episode of the season, of the year, our year ender, if you like, Martin. Welcome, Martin Bridges.
Ho, ho, ho. Merry almost Christmas.
Yes, we are recording this a few days out. I may have opened an advent calendar of beer, but yes, but I have not finished it, so we're nowhere near Christmas. But anyway, yeah, Merry Christmas to everyone listening. Yours,
Merry
me,
Christmas.
Michael Donaldson. Yeah, Michael Donaldson here, the editor of Pursuit of Hoppiness, and my colleague Martin Bridges, aka the Beer Bigwig, and with his he's got his reindeer shirt on. Can't quite see it. I can.
Beer. It's the Christmas beer shirt.
Yes.
Everybody's going to own one.
I thought we'd cut to the chase, Martin. We're going to do a wrap of the year. But first, what was your beer of the year?
Probably top of the shop was the Emerson's Pride of the Plains, the rebrew of the original recipe of Emerson's Pilsner.
Yes. Yep. Single hopped with
Beautiful,
Rewalker.
beautiful beer. Bring back the original.
Yeah, it was outstanding. It was in my top five. And probably, the only reason it didn't make it number one in the Pursuit of Hoppiness summer edition was because I did my list after everyone else's came in, and I saw how many other people had it on top, and I thought we need some variety, and so I went with the another rebrew, the Hallertau Maximus XX IPA. I thought that was an absolutely cracking beer. So it was a great year for the rebrews.
Yeah, that Maximus was on my long list as well, but you were very cruel and made us cut it down to just a top five, which was exceptionally hard to do.
Yes, I think next year we might do six. Everyone's allowed a mixed six.
A mixed six. Go.
Yeah. It only occurred to me after I'd said five and published five that six would have been a better number. But yeah, it makes you think, when you have to narrow it down to five. For the record, the Hallertau Maximus, for me, the Pride of the Plains Pilsner, I was a big fan of Shining Peak's Feijoa Sour, which I thought was a match for the benchmark Feijoa Wild Ale from 8 Wired. I also like 8 Wired's sticky barley wine made with, I think it was dates, raisins, plums. Yeah. I thought that was magnificent. And the beer that probably brought the biggest smile to my face this year was Urbanaut's 420 terpene laced hazy IPA that literally did make me laugh. And then I was just giggling while I was drinking it. And then I looked up the terpene that was used to brew it and discovered it was renowned for, when it's in its cannabis form, for making people laugh. So it worked. Yeah. Anyway, it was a great beer.
And they've now done a 422, I believe. So
yes, yeah.
I
haven't seen that yet. What about you?
I really loved the obviously the Pride of the Plains was top of the heap. There were a couple of things that really surprised me. One was, and I was very, very pleased about the resurgence of brown ales.
Yes.
Brown ales are back, and they should never have gone away. But the Garage Project Dr. Pete's Fortifying Brown Ale was a proper English style brown ale, I think, to make. And in honor of that, it was a seasonal, so it's not available at the moment. But I'm currently drinking the Garage Project Brown Kiwi, which is more of an American style brown ale, although with kiwi hops, and that
Yeah.
is also excellent. So Garage Project, and nailing the brown ales. So that was good. I like your uh 8 wired barley wine. I also in the slightly north of Auckland barley wines, when with the Sawmill barley wine,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
which I thought was
Matakana is the place, yeah, to go and get
here's
your
the
barley
place to get
wines.
barley
Yeah.
wines. I thought it was a real absolute cracker and a
Mm.
ridiculously good value. I think it was like $60 for 6 500 ml
Wow.
bottles, which was ridiculous for an
Yeah.
excellent barley wine that you could stick in your cellar and forget about. Um, um, Also, talking of 8 wired, I loved the Tall Boy, the first of
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
the first of
Yeah.
the 500 ml cans,
Mm. Mm.
um,
I
and
see. Now we have superconductor in a 500 ml can, which,
which is scary. But the
yes.
Tall Boy was super drinkable, just a real kind of everyday IPA. And then talking of finally another IPA from our favorite Hawke's Bay producer of IPAs,
Yes.
Brave, but it wasn't Tiger Milk. Was not
Oh,
Tiger Milk. I went with their Tall Story West Coast IPA, which I think was their Malt House West Coast IPA
okay.
Challenge beer.
Yep.
May have been, may not have been. I may be making this up, but it was certainly out around that sort of time, and it was a great beer.
Brilliant. Yeah. No, good collection. I mean, based on what some of the other writers for the magazine nominated, there were a number of others who had Pride of the Plains Pilsner in their lists, and based on that, I had no qualms in naming it the Pursuit of Hoppiness Third Pint Theory Beer of the Year, best voted by our contributors.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it just resonated with beer geeks, and not just because of its throwback ancestry kind of thing. It was freaking good. It was
Yeah,
so good. It's like they should
there
brew
was
it that way all the
that
time.
Rewalker hit was just so good. Hey,
Mm, mm,
it
yeah.
screamed New Zealand. It was like if you had to pin somebody down and say what is a New Zealand Pilsner, you would go that right there.
Yes.
That
Yeah. 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 No, it was
imprint it
a
on your
shining
memory,
example.
and
Yeah.
you're done. That's it. Just lock it in.
um, I should note what I'm drinking for those who dare to watch the video version of this. They can see it, but I got very lucky the other week. And you can see this says so it's Lumberjack Brewing from the Woods 2021 Saison. You probably can't read much else. It's bottle number 185 with a best before date of somewhere in 2024. And
it can't be good for
what
you.
I'll just explain how I ended up with that. So there's a guy called Ethan, and I just have his surname slips my mind. He used to be the brewer at Slab Brewing, and Slab left, and that space got taken over by the Alchemist, and sort of in the Bay of Plenty, and he's now brewing at Lumberjack. And Lumberjack have had this lowish profile for a while, and they're just starting to maybe rev things up a little bit. I see there's beer being sent to various social media influencers. I think they're just trying to maybe push out a little bit more. They've got a wee pub in Te Puke, or a tap room. But interestingly, I won't go into any more detail now, but I met the owner during Beervana, and he's actually a forestry worker. So, you know, he is a lumberjack.
And he's
So to
okay.
speak. Anyway, yeah. So Ethan kindly sent me some beers, and one of them was this one, From the Woods. And just before we came on air, I had to Google to remind myself that it had indeed won a trophy at the New Zealand Beer Awards in 2022. Won the wood and barrel aged trophy. And that year, there were 3 saisons that won trophies. Kainui Brew Company had a rose saison that won something in a fruit and flavored one. Brewed Fermentation had a Feijoa saison something or other that might have been in speciality experimental. I might be getting those back to front for those two. And then this saison in the wooden barrel aged category. And I was thinking, well, where have all the saisons gone? Like, you don't see that many of them.
Because nobody buys them. This is,
I would.
This is the problem. I was talking to the guys at Twofold in Parnell, and they have their mug club. So you can pay to be a member of the mug club, and the main thing is you get a mug with your name on it, which sits in the brew pub. And every now and again, I don't know if it's every month or every quarter or whatever, the mug club
I think it's monthly.
Get to vote on a beer to be made, and they voted for a saison. And John and Bernard, who are the owners of Twofold, were desperately trying to persuade them to vote for something else because they wanted something that they could sell. But the members were insistent and ended up with a saison. And the other thing I noticed, I was talking to Andrew Charles from Behemoth, and they've just released a, I think it's secretly saison. I think but it's being sold as like a Belgian pale ale, I think, but it's actually a saison because you can't call something a saison, otherwise nobody buys it.
No, it is. Farmhouse ale could work.
Yeah.
It's got the romance. Anyway, it is an absolutely delicious beer. Like, it's, as I'm drinking it, I'm thinking this is one of the best things I've drunk this year, and it's coming up 5 years old, or 4 years old. It's a year past its so-called best by date. It's like lemony and tart, but with this underlying sort of just lovely sweet note, a little bit of tannin, and just a really well-balanced kind of bitterness that just coats your palate. It's delicious. Little bit of spice, but not a lot. Anyway, I just thought it was something really interesting and different to drink for the year ender.
And completely unavailable if anybody else.
Yeah, no, that's right. Well, I think if you
come around your house,
if you live anywhere near Lumberjack in Te Puke, you could go there and just sort of butter them up, and there might be one or two still in the cellar. Anyway, it's it's a delicious beer, and I'm making my case for more saisons in 2026, please. Anyway, beers of the year we've done. We're remiss to not mention Garage Project's Chance Luck and Magic in the discussion of beers of the year. It was the beer of the year at the New Zealand Beer Awards, and then won that bronze medal at the Brussels Beer Challenge.
Which is amazing. I don't think anybody really, I don't think a lot of people understand quite how much how big a deal that is,
Yeah,
to
yeah,
like
yeah.
beat the Belgians on their own turf.
Mm,
Um, um, it's what a beer.
yeah, yeah. And again, it's a sort of a not available beer, really.
Yeah,
Except we did have some at Beervana, and people who were there will remember it. Um, and there will be more of it lying around, but I think they'll be reserving it for their own special occasions and to enter into other competitions, perhaps. But
yeah, they must be
yeah,
running low. I bet because it's um, but that was talking of Beervana. That's probably a good point to talk about the excellent time we had at
yeah,
Beervana,
we did, yeah,
with the question and answer sessions that we did with a number of different breweries, and it was so great to see so many people come along and really engage with the brewers and have those chats. But that first session with uh, with our good friends from Brave, but also a garage project with 3 vintages of Chancellor and Magic, including a
mm,
couple of Magnums. That kind of set the bar pretty high for
yeah.
the first session,
That
and
that was
it
one
went
of
from
the
there.
one of the best beer experiences of the year for me.
Yeah.
That session, and those beers, it was pretty cool. Um, I in the magazine, I said it was a coin toss for the brewery of the year, and I'd be interested in your opinion.
Mm.
Uh, you may not have read the magazine. You said it. You've seen it delivered at this point, so you may not have read what I wrote. Um, uh, but if there were two breweries competing for the brewery of the year crown, who would you think they would be?
Um, I would say it was those two breweries that we had at that first session at Beervana of Garage Project and Brave.
Ah, well, I maybe I went a bit left field, but I had Brave and Altitude Brewing. And the reason
And
I had Altitude Brewing was because they won the Champion International Medium Brewery at the Aussie Awards,
yep,
and then came back and won, no, small brewery in Aussie and then medium sized brewery in New Zealand, because they have different levels in the two countries. So, two champion brewery titles in the same year, two trophies at the New Zealand Beer Awards, a trophy at the Australian Beer Awards. They had a pretty outstanding year, and I found it hard to put those two up against each other. And so I said they can share it, in my opinion. But yes, Garage
and
Project could have been in a three-way tie. Yeah.
I think that's fair enough. I think talk about Brave in a minute, but Altitude have just consistently made a whole bunch of beers. They've kind of grown significantly in a tough market.
Yeah.
That is um, that is impressive, and they've grown not only in sales but in quality, and
Yeah.
that to do those two things at the same time is hard. Um, and
Yeah.
and they're great people. Eddie uh, is a great chap. We had a good chat with him at Bivana, and the episode came out recently. Um,
Mm,
um, uh, I would not disagree with you
thank
on
you.
that pairing. I would shoehorn Garage in there as well, not just on Chancellor and Magic, which Chancellor and Magic on its own kind of brings them
Mm,
up there,
yeah.
but also that kind of the um the leaps forward that they've taken and kind of the big calls they've made
Mm,
this year.
mm,
One of the other stories of the year, I guess, has been consolidation, some difficult times in the industry, and sadly we lost Fortune Favors,
Yeah.
um, and which was very sad. A lot of good beer come out of Leeds Street, but Garage Project taken over the building, put a new bar in there, and
Yep.
that was a big deal on the back of committing to reviving the Oriental Bay Rotunda.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
I think Garage Project they've done what Garage Project always did, which is release a whole range of really good beers, really interesting, really creative beers. They've absolutely smashed it in terms of local and international awards, and they've um, you know uh, made a big statement in terms of the business. So I think
Yeah.
that kind of brings them into the frame for me. But
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. No, those are really good points. Because it's also sometimes more than the beer, in terms of, contributions to culture and economy and the city you're in.
yep.
They do so much in that regard. Um, Speaking of Fortune Favors, that is one of the big stories of the year. But I think the other one that seemed to really capture people's attention was the Hop Federation story.
Mm.
The initial decision of the owners, Cono, who'd had it for about 5 years, to just shut it down point blank. We're not investing in beer anymore. And I think, as we discussed earlier, they're a massive food and beverage company. They could have absorbed a bit of a loss while they rode out the tough times, perhaps in beer, but they went, no, we're not interested. And that seemed like the end, and a really sad end for a really popular brand that makes some really good beers, particularly their Green Limousine, Fresh Hop IPA, Red IPA. And then turn around a couple of months later and they're back and
Yep.
bought by DNA Brewing over in Blenheim. Founder Simon Nicholas stays on. Brand continues in a consolidated framework. And I just think it's cool. That's, bless Dave Nichols and Moore at DNA for seeing the value in it, I think. It's a great result.
Yeah, and it was a good end to what could have been a very sad story, and
Yeah.
coming into kind of the end of the year, it gives you a little bit of hope that maybe, there is still tough times ahead. I don't think anybody, all the brewers I've spoken to recently have all said, yeah, it's still really tough, but everybody has got a kind of a maybe it could turn. So
Yeah.
and that was a really good story, and I'll be very happy to see those Hop Federation brews continue, particularly those
Yeah.
two that you mentioned. It's like there aren't enough red IPAs around,
Yeah.
and Green Limousine's always one of the fresh hops
Yeah.
that I
Yeah.
look out for.
Yeah. Look, I think I probably didn't mean to go down this, but now I've opened my mouth and I'm going down this path about kind of, is craft beer dead?
Oh,
And well, not dead, but
there's
flagging.
a
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
question.
Yeah. Yeah. But I do think that we have moved beyond craft beer in terms of a term,
Yep.
a reference point. And we've been saying this in the past. It's been, Garage Project were one of the first to say, we don't even use the term craft anymore.
Cool.
And when I say this, it's like, it comes with all these connotations. One of them is that you're making a big hoppy IPA and that's kind of it. That, it's an owner operator,
Yep.
doing everything kind of in the true artisan kind of one man or woman against the world kind of thing. And it's not anymore. Like it's not boutique or micro as a industry. It's actually quite big.
Yep.
and and a lot of the breweries we talk about have transcended that, and they are big businesses. Parrot
Yep.
Dog, Garage Project, Sawmill, Behemoth, Castles in Christchurch,
Yep.
any number of other ones. It's a massive industry. And so while craft beer might not be such a thing anymore, good beer is, like, I think, continuing to grow. And I don't know, these breweries are big enough to weather the economic storm that we've been in. There are always going to be little ones that fall away, but that doesn't mean beer is dead.
No.
If you know what I mean. Like it's a nuanced argument that I'm raising
I
here.
think it's a really good point. I think that craft, micro and boutique were always constraining terms. It's like
Yes.
they basically said that once you got bigger than whatever those terms kind of applied to, then you couldn't be that anymore. And you weren't
Yeah.
relevant, you weren't interesting, and you weren't good. And that's never been the case. Like people can't make good beer at a large scale. Like Emerson's is a great example to me.
Yeah.
Like they are
Yep.
they're part of Lion now,
Mm.
but their beer was best beer of the year according to the Pursuit of Happiness and the
Yeah.
Third Point Theory.
Yeah.
It's not about your company structure or your size. It's about the beer you make, and there is a bit about the contribution you make to your community and society and so on. But it's really about the beer that you make, and I think that what we will see, I agree, is that we will probably still see some consolidation. We'll still see some small brewers fall by the wayside, but them existing will spark innovation in the others. It brings drinkers into the industry. It brings brewers and so on into the industry, and those then go on elsewhere and lift the quality elsewhere. I can get good beer in a heck of a lot more places than I could a few
Yeah.
years ago.
Yeah. And that's right. And this is, I think, reflected in another one of the interesting stories that popped up this year, which was Parrot Dog's listing on a public trading platform, which is known as Catalyst. And it's a second tier thing to the New Zealand Stock Exchange for small to medium businesses. And we haven't had a brewery publicly listed since the Moa debacle of 2012 to about whenever they eventually sold it to Stephen Smith 4 or 5 years ago, maybe. And then before that, DB delisted in 2006, I'm thinking. So here is a craft brewery, I'll use that word, a brewery of a smaller scale that you can buy shares in. It's a different way of operating Catalyst, but you buy the shares in an auction window. But one of the interesting things about it is if you sign up to Catalyst, you're privy to all the information that the other shareholders would have in Parrot Dog. Like, you can look at their finances. And this is a very big business. Like, their valuation just based on the shares that have traded in the last window is $20-something million, which probably makes it bigger than Panhead when they sold to Lion. And I think the guys at Parrot Dog think that's the valuation is probably a bit higher than that, because they're really starting to turn a more of a profit, etc. Um, and you only have to think Garage Project are a similar size, so they have to
Yeah.
be as big, And I just think this is a really interesting story for beer in New Zealand, that it's not just those big multinationals anymore who are, I guess, I don't know, not setting the rules or whatever, but just dominating the landscape, particularly when it comes to interesting different beer.
I
So
wonder whether we're kind of getting into a model similar to the UK in some respects. In that you've got the kind of the big multinationals, the global brands and so on, and then down at the bottom you've got craft breweries,
yeah,
small breweries, tap room servicing a small area, kind of thing.
yeah,
Then in the middle, and now in the UK, this is different because of history and whatever, but you've got like the family brewers, the Timothy Taylors, the
yeah,
Theaksons, the so on, who are definitely making good beer, but they are bigger, significantly bigger companies and have a bigger reach and a bigger kind of marketing approach
mm,
and so on. And you've got that. And I wonder whether, obviously, New Zealand's on a much smaller scale than the UK, and we don't have the history necessarily that they do around that.
yeah,
Um, I think that I can see parallels to
yeah,
that
yeah,
starting to appear. That you get this kind of stratification, as it were. The big boys, the in between, the kind of a larger good breweries, and then a lot of small upstarts who kind of maybe appear quickly, do something really creative. Maybe they break through into the upper levels. Maybe they get swallowed up by one of the slightly bigger ones. Maybe they fall away,
mm,
and you get that kind of dynamic. I think
yeah,
perhaps that's what we might see.
yeah. And I totally agree with you. And I think it's part of the maturing of that industry. And I think the Parrot Dog listing's part of that. The Garage Project investing in Wellington Hospitality is part of that. DNA
Yep.
buying Hop Federation is part of that consolidation. This is about an industry that's maturing, getting a stronger foothold in the economic space of making beer.
Yep.
Because we didn't have, as you say, the stratification. There was all the big breweries and then lots of small breweries. And now we've got decent, medium to large independent players. And, because we've never had a Sierra Nevada, Dogfish Head type, a Goose Island, Bell's, those breweries in America, which are independent but huge,
A brew dog,
and
if we're thinking about a UK kind of example, that I'll kind of put them in the same sort of bracket.
mm,
The
mm,
problematic in a lot of ways, uh,
yeah,
but but um um but certainly from that kind of semi large, come from a challenger type mentality, but now kind of part of the establishment.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. And I just think this is it's good for the industry. And yeah, I think, I don't know, we're going to see the diversity at the grassroots level continue. And already, like this year, we saw Jason Bathgate start up Element Brewing,
mm,
Jared Proudfoot start up Bonnie Day and Geraldine,
yep.
Scott Taylor started Neck of the Woods, um, Renegade started in Christchurch,
Mm. Yeah, there are still new
Coromandel,
breweries,
yeah,
still
Coromandel
new
Power
breweries popping
Supply,
up all the
yeah,
time, and I keep thinking, are these people insane?
No, but see what they're coming in at the mature end of the market where it's not
Yeah,
speculative
yeah,
necessarily anymore. They've looked at it and gone, I think I can carve out a little niche at this level.
yep.
Um, I talked to the Thomas from Renegade Brewing in Christchurch, and he's like, not going in supermarkets, not packaging, not having any sales staff. It's just me
Yep.
brewing beer, selling it to customer over the bar who tells me whether they like it or not, and then I go away and make it better. And there's room for all those players, and
Yeah, yeah.
the,
Talking
yeah,
of neck of
and
the woods, teaser
mm,
for next season of the Third Pint Theory. I'm going
yes,
down to Tauranga next week to sit
okay,
down with Scott from Neck of the Woods and have a bit of a chat about their new place, and that will
yeah,
be hitting your podcast airwaves um, uh, in early 2026.
yeah. As also will be, I've just had a chat with Joe Emmons from Three Sisters, and this will be news that will be out after this has gone to air, but there'll be more detail in the pod with him. But they are opening a bar in Wellington. So,
Wow.
yeah, that's pretty cool. They're going into the old Black Dog uh, brewery spot, which had,
Ah,
after Black Dog finished, it became a Mexican restaurant. And it's now going back to being a bar, and it's going to be Three Sisters. So,
that's a cute little place.
hey,
It's a cute little place, is that?
yeah, yeah, yeah. And
I
Blair
used to
Street,
work
yeah.
just around the corner. It's a great little spot.
Mm. And so there's another kind of great story. They've had a massive year, Three Sisters. Big export markets, growth domestically, revenues are up. So there are good stories out there for sure. And I think to hark back to Brave, I think their model is as good as it gets in some ways, where you are a regional
Yeah.
powerhouse to an extent, which doesn't mean you have to be big. It just means
Now,
that everyone in your little area knows who you are, wants to go there, and you can't make enough beer to keep them all happy. So,
they've had such a year. Hey,
mm,
we went in one of the very early episodes of the Third Pint There. In fact, when we started this podcast, when we started talking about this podcast, that was one of the first things I said to you was that I want to go down and talk to
yes,
Brave,
yeah,
and it was one of the first things that we did. I went down and had a chat with Matt and Gemma at Brave, and this was before they won big at the New Zealand Beer
yes,
Awards,
that's right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and we had a great chat, and I just love what they've done, and I think you're exactly right. They know exactly what they want to achieve, and
Mm,
they do not want to grow to be enormous. They're servicing their market. They're working to the level they want to work. They want to
mm,
have their lives and whatever as well,
yeah,
But they're making a lot of people in that part of town, in that part of the country, very, very happy. They're making great beer. They have an awesome tap room. I find it hilarious that we were down there. We had the conversation, and they were talking about Tiger Milk, which we all love. Um, and they were saying, "Oh yeah, it grew and it's been this huge brand for us. And we used to have these problems where we couldn't make enough of it. People were crying in the tap room
yeah,
because
yeah,
we
yeah.
and they said, but that's fine now. We make plenty of tiger milk. And then about a fortnight ago, I
That's it. Yeah,
saying, sorry, we've run out of tiger milk,
yeah,
and
yeah.
And then a couple of weeks later, post saying it's back up on the website, but 3/4 of the batch has been pre-sold. So
No way. Yeah.
so they're back into that.
Mm.
You know, they've created a monster in that Tiger Milk is so in demand they can't keep up
Yeah.
because they
It's a cult beer. It really is.
it
It's
is.
yeah.
And it's
Um
up on its 10th birthday next year. 10th birthday in
yeah.
2026.
Um I did out of that pod that you did, Gemma Smith had a great quote, and I made it my quote of the year. And she was just talking about the Tiger Cow branding. And she says, we stick that Tiger Cow on anything. We've got coffee mugs, we've got socks, we've had hats, we had T-shirts. Anything we stick that Tiger Cow onto sells out in an instant. And,
Yeah,
it's phenomenal, really, that a small regional beer should be so popular. There's probably been nothing like it since probably Gisborne Gold in Wellington in the 90s or something,
yeah. It's taken over. It's and it's such a great beer. And also, and there is another segue into another um, thought, is that we've talked about the beer of the year. What about the style of the year? Because
yeah.
I
Yes, I
have
know.
I have a contender. And my contender for style of the year is Bright IPA.
Mm. The
Um,
purists would argue it's not a style; it's
well,
an
purists
adjective.
would argue there isn't a style, but
No,
I am
yeah,
happy with
I
it
know
being
what you
called
mean.
style. So and after I'd kind of thought about it for a while, because I've had a number of really good Bright IPAs this year. The Sawmill one that they've now put into 6 packs as a core
Yep.
range is excellent, and which I think probably is exactly the same beer that
Yeah, the
they're
four
now
square
selling
one. Yeah,
four square beer. Excellent beer.
yeah,
I thought about it more afterwards, and I reckon that the first big Bright IPA in New Zealand wasn't called Bright IPA; it was called Tiger Milk.
yes, yeah, exactly. Yep, yeah,
And because it is exactly that.
yep,
It is, it's a New England IPA in terms of the softer bitterness, but the
yeah,
big refreshing hop flavor, but without the haze.
yeah,
And
yep.
it is exactly that. And that is my style of the year. I will drink. If you call it a stick Bright IPA on it, I will drink it.
Yeah, that brewers and Martin drinks a lot of beer, so you've got a ready-made market. Um, but the other thing, and I'm conscious that we don't want to run on too long on this, um, that we didn't talk about yet is the kind of internal sale of Three Boys.
Oh,
Um,
yes.
yeah, which was, I kind of think, a really interesting moment in New Zealand beer history again,
Yep.
where a founder brewer wants to exit because he's approaching the age where he wants to retire or move on or whatever. And, Ralph and his wife, Bridget, have had that brewery for 21 years
Yep.
and done an amazing job with it. And because Ralph's Ralph, he didn't want to sell it to a big brewery or
That was never going
someone
to
who was
happen.
just, in his words, someone who would shit on it. And and he struck gold by hiring Damien Treasure as his head brewer, and then basically strong arming him into buying it. But it's a great result because what he's able to do is step aside, see the thing he's created carry on and hopefully sort of stay the same because, Damien's come in and drunk the Kool-Aid already, kind of, so to
Yep.
speak. And I just think really interesting development, really interesting story. Just how you can transition something successfully, I guess. Yeah. Without going
I
bust or,
remains to be seen how it goes, but I am very confident. As I say, Damien is a hell of a brewer. I think
Mm,
he elevated the Beer Baroness beers to a whole new level when he was the head brewer there. He's the Three Boys beer since he came in have been and continue to be excellent. So
yeah.
I'm really confident in that, and I'm so happy for Ralph that he found the exit on his terms. It's
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
we had a chat. He was probably the first episode, the first
He
interview I
was, yeah.
recorded
Yeah.
for this podcast, and it was just a great chat. I really would love to have another chat with him now that he's kind of
Yeah.
solid. I really hope we don't lose him from the industry.
I don't think we will. Yeah.
I don't think we will. I don't think he could. But
mm,
hopefully now that he doesn't own a brewery, he can really let loose, and
yeah.
we can
Yes.
really feel the unvarnished
Oh,
Ralph. That would
I
be
have no doubt. He did tell me that that he, because he used to be very outspoken, and he's probably become more restrained in recent years. And but he did say that he's prepared to sort of lob grenades from the sideline on request. So
and so
I'm just
I
gonna,
look forward to having a chat with him about that. I
yeah,
really look forward to hearing that. But talking of the 20-year club, because there he's one of the as you say, Three Boys are in 21 years. We had a couple
yeah,
of breweries join the 20-year club this year, and that actually is a link to the. So I'd finished my brown ale, and now I've poured myself, um, uh, and things could go really downhill from here because I've just poured myself. You probably can you see it? Yeah,
yeah. I
it's
can
an
see it.
epic
Yes.
hop zombie. It's
Oh,
the luckily I can't read the
so that's
ABV.
the triple
It
IPA, is it?
is.
Or
It's like Hop Zombie, but more so. So
yeah,
Epic joined are surely about to join the 20-year club. It's their They've been doing their 20th anniversary tour over the last
yes,
few weeks. It's their kind of their uh, culmination of that at the tap room on Saturday. But also Hallertau hit
yes,
the
yep,
20, and you talked about Maximus XX, one of the three beers that were rebrewed
yep.
for that
Stuntman
20th
was the other one,
anniversry.
and
Stuntman
the
and
Porter
Port
Noir.
Noir. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
Um,
on that note, yeah, Galbraith's turned 30, which was
yeah.
another interesting milestone. Yeah, so it's been quite a landmark year, I think, in some ways, 2025. Um, the but one thing we started talking about earlier on one of these podcasts was predictions, and
I'm out of the
uh,
prediction game. I get it
come
entirely
on,
wrong every time.
come on. All right, but for the last few minutes, some thoughts for at least 2026. Um, I don't really have any strong ones, but I've got one or two thoughts that I will share in a minute. But have you, Martin, got any
Right.
predictions?
Okay. So uh, last year, was it last year? I wrote an article for Pursuit of Happiness at the beginning of the year with my thoughts, predictions for the year, and I think pretty
Yes.
much 100% wrong.
Wrong. Yes.
So I think I claimed that um, a couple of the New Zealand hops, trial hops, would be fully commercialized during the year.
No.
I even
Yeah.
came up with names for them. Um,
Yeah.
no.
No.
However, I do think we are getting very, very close to some of those actually. So I'm going to make the same prediction again, that this year we will see maybe at least one of the New Zealand hops, trial hops, make it into full production and with an actual name, because there are some great
Yeah.
trial hops
Yes.
out there. I had the NZH 112, which I think was in one of the Sawmill Aotearoa series IPAs, and that was outstanding. So
Yeah.
I think there are a bunch of those out there. That's going to happen eventually. If I keep making the same prediction,
Yeah.
it'll happen
Yeah.
eventually.
Um, yeah, I do think 109 is a strong candidate. Yeah, it's interesting in a shrinking hop market. You I can understand
Yeah.
why they might have been holding off. And maybe if that's balanced out a little bit, maybe next year could be the year. Um, my first prediction is entirely based on uh, Batch Brewing's Polygamy Pilsner, which was released. Look, honestly, the artwork's great. The guy in the hammock holding two beers. But it's this classic Bohemian Pilsner, albeit probably overly hopped, which is not a bad thing. But I just think there's been this slow burn of older style pilsners. Like we'll always have New Zealand pilsners with New Zealand hops, but
Yep.
the sterner, more I don't know what the word is for it. Yeah, just that the tighter kind of European style pilsner, I think it's gonna have a great summer. That batch Polygamy Pilsner is fantastic. It really is good. And I think we'll see more of them. I hope.
I'm going to go. Talking of styles, there, I think its time has come, as I think that we will see some more of the English styles.
Not a bad call. No, we've had a
I
few
think
this year. Yeah.
I think because there is this general downward drift of ABVs, people are shifting to drinking beers with less alcohol.
Yeah.
That I think that and people will be interested in a best bitter, an English golden ale.
A mild.
I've had a couple of really good examples from Twofold.
Yep.
I think that Galbraith's continues to make really good beer. I
Yep.
think that some of those English styles, the kind of more subtle, I think that there's a bit more of a maturing of palates, maybe, and people can look
Yeah, and
for
maybe this is the
all.
where I'm going with these pilsners as well, is we don't need to be whacked around too much with flavors to appreciate something. Like I think the very those New Zealand sort of style IPAs and hazies with huge hop character. I think eventually you pull back a little bit from that, and you don't need to be walloped to around the chops with hops. And you can appreciate more subtle flavors. I think there's room in the market for that. I agree. But on the flip side, again, talking to Joe from Three Sisters about smoothie sours, and it's interesting. He said he didn't enter the New Zealand Beer Awards this year, and one of the reasons is he couldn't get everything lined up. They were just too busy brewing. But he brews so many smoothie sours now, and that's almost like their signature beer. And when it's in a technical judging competition, the feedback's not great because there's still a school of thought that it's not really beer, it's a hybridized thing. But he did tell me, and I'm not basing it purely on what Joe has said, but he exports to China, and he said the first shipment they did, it was mainly hazies and IPAs, and he threw in like one smoothie sour just to see how it would go. And they said, yep, that's great. We'll have 3 next time. And then it became 4 and 5 and 6. And so he said now 60 to 70% of what he exports are these smoothie sours. You go into their tap room, 6 of 24 taps are smoothie sours. And where they're finding success with them is in younger drinkers, women drinkers, and the still curious kind of experimental craft beer drinker, to use the term I said was dead. And so beer's big problem is finding new people, right?
Yeah.
And this is a way. It may not be smoothie sours. It could be hard lemonades or hard ginger beers or whatever. But I do think this style hits a particular mark that other beer doesn't reach. And so therefore I think we might see more of them. It's a guess.
I don't necessarily, I'm not necessarily happy about it, but I think that you're probably right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've got a kind of it's the hops on me is kicking in, and now I'm kind of making wild and crazy predictions. So I think last year, I think when I made predictions last time, I said that a New Zealand brewery would set up an offshoot in Australia.
Right.
And,
yes.
And I was 100% wrong. Not happen. I wonder whether the opposite might happen. I wonder whether we might see more interest in New Zealand from Australian breweries. We already some import of things like One Drop.
You took the words out of my mouth. Yep.
Yeah, but I wonder whether we might see some more interest from our Australian cousins.
Yeah, well, I think that's not bad actually, in terms of a prediction. To an extent, you could say it happened with Little Creatures in the bar in Hobsonville, but that's Lion and it's a different story. And there was what's it called? 2 Bays, the gluten-free Aussie beer has launched here. Be interested to see how that goes.
Bolter.
Hey, water, yeah.
Bolter. Our Bolter were bought by they're a Sai, I think, but they've launched over here. So
yeah, there's 2.
So I wonder whether that we might see more of that.
I did.
It's a pretty speculative kind of throwing it out there, but if it happens, I'll claim I was right.
Yeah. Mountain Culture's another one that I just had an inkling they wanted to come over here at one point, but I think it's more likely to go that way in terms of Trans-Tasman. For sure.
I don't see. I think it's just so hard for New Zealand breweries to do anything in Australia. The tax regime's just not great. We've seen Joss from Garage Project kind of getting involved in lobbying.
They do get that excise relief.
They do
on the first.
small
I think now $400,000 or something rebate.
So
Um,
I think that it's so hard for Kiwi breweries to get into Australia. I wonder whether the reverse might occur.
mm,
We will see. Talking about actually, what I know we're kind of, I'm keeping an eye on the time, but one of the other interesting stories I think at the moment is thinking about festivals. So obviously, we had a great time at Biavana. I thought the festival itself was excellent. We obviously
yeah,
had a great time doing the question and answer sessions. And we've seen this week that the dates for Biavana 2026 have been announced.
yeah,
And basically almost exactly the same time as in Australia, GABS, the Great
yes,
Australian Beer Spectacular, was put on hold.
yeah,
So
yeah. No, I
I
did
think,
know that. Yeah,
festivals, as we spoke to Ryan from Biavana earlier in the year, festivals are hard things to
yep,
do, and but Biavana is trucking on.
mm, mm,
GABS has changed owner, and I think that I understand that their reasoning is that they've gone, new owner, want to really figure out where we're going with this. Let's
yep,
take a year
yep,
off, and actually figure out what we're doing. But I think
yeah.
it's good to see Biavana continuing and going from strength to strength.
Yeah, I did see. Yeah, there was a report that was Biavana and Burger Wellington injected something like $10 million into the Wellington economy, according to whoever the people are that come up with these numbers. That how they measure it, but good result, like, and great for Wellington. So yeah, I'll certainly be back there. The other thing to look forward to next year is the New Zealand Beer Awards are in Dunedin, which is great. Always looking forward to an
I'm very
excuse to go to
tempted.
Dunedin.
Hey, I'm very,
Yeah.
very tempted. I
And
love Dunedin. There's so many, there's Emerson's, there's
yeah,
Albar, there's
yeah,
Ark,
yeah, yeah,
there's
yeah, Inch
so
Bar,
many,
yeah, yeah,
there's a Port Cider, there's so many places. And just down the road is Oamaru.
yes, craft work. Yeah, that was a great little festival. Anyway, another prediction for you is that we will be back. So
Yes,
yeah, um,
you don't get rid
we
of
will.
us that easily.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. So we hope all you listeners come back. Um, Again, thank you for being with us on this very organic journey uh, on the first season of the Third Pint Theory. I've enjoyed it. I think you have, Martin. Yeah,
I absolutely have. And what I would
yeah,
say, and actually this is a probably really good a good point to say, if you're listening to this, thank you for listening to this,
yes,
thank you for listening to all the other episodes. We are really keen to get feedback on
yeah,
what have you enjoyed, what have you not enjoyed,
yeah,
what would you like to see us covering in the future, other different ways of doing it. So look, I would um, reach out to us. Um,
so
you can
I
get in
just
touch with me. Uh,
yeah, I
at
just had to
Martin.
let a cat out. So
Oh, no, you've always got to let the cat out of the bag.
um,
So Martin.bridges at beerbigwig.com.
yeah, yeah,
Michael,
Michael at hoppiness.co.nz.
or
Yeah,
you
we
can,
as I say,
sorry.
yeah, no, I would say we always love to get feedback. It's great.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
We're on Blue Sky, Third Point
are
Theory.
we? I'm not on Blue Sky, but I
We
trust
are.
you.
Um,
We want to be guided by the listeners as to what you want to hear. Otherwise, we'll just keep making this stuff up as we go along, which is always dangerous. So, yeah. Hey, look, it's been an absolute buzz, to be honest. Thank you, Martin. Thank you, the listeners, and I hope everyone just has a
Michael,
really safe, happy, enjoyable Christmas and New Year, and you drink good beer.
absolutely. Whatever you do, drink good beer.
Yeah, don't drink too many hop zombies.
No,
Yes,
no, no, no,
but,
no, 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 not too many of these. One, share it with friends.
yes. All right. Merry Christmas to you, Martin, and your family, and to
And to
everyone
you.
listening. Thank you.